Welcome to Composition and Culture. I'm Dennis Jers. I've been at Seton Hill since 2003. I teach English courses in literature and writing and journalism, and I hope that you will find what we do here in this class will be important and useful. Every major at Seton Hill has made this course a prerequisite. I really honor this trust since your other professors all agree that the work that we do here is crucial to every student's academic journey. I'm trained to see writing as something to do rather than a set of rules to memorize. Now, you have to miss the hoop a lot before you get any good at free throws, and you have to scrape out a lot of horrible sounds before you get any good at the violin. To do anything as an expert, you first practice at the level where you are. Now, beginning chess players can get a huge advantage over other players if they memorize a list of common mistakes to avoid. But once you know the list of things to avoid, to become really good at the game, you have to develop a new skill. In chess, you have to develop the ability to anticipate your opponent's moves and thinking 3 or 5 or 7 moves ahead. But when you start out learning any skill, you first sort of learn lists of beginner tips and mistakes to avoid. Now, this kid who, look at the picture that he drew at under age 13. It's honestly not very good. I mean, honestly, most of this kid's life, this kid was not a very good artist. But this kid gave up before he was 13. Look at the great art that would never have been created. It is human nature to feel discouraged early on as you are developing any kind of skill. And in something called the Dunning-Kruger effect, it's a universal human trait. Beginners get super confident because they can make great strides by memorizing mistakes to avoid and learning from, top 10 tips for beginners. But after they learn a little bit more, their confidence takes a huge nosedive. And according to the Dunning-Kruger effect, even experts after years of experience, experts are never as confident as they were when they were beginners. So I'm not just talking about what happens to college students. I'm not going to evaluate your work against the experts who've already made it through the valley and are coming out on the other side of the slope. Now, this chart would display my confidence if I started learning anything that you already knew. On a weekly basis, your job in this class will be to focus on each step, and you'll get to where you need to go. You let me keep that long-term goal in mind. If you are used to the general flow of an online course as sort of clicking through a PowerPoint and taking a quiz, then the rhythm of this course might take a little getting used to. Well, what are we going to do in this course? Let's take a look. Canvas will be the command post for our class. I've divided each week up into its own module. Each module typically includes 3 informal discussions that introduce skills that you'll need to use in a major step towards completing the researched term paper. There's also a calendar in Canvas, and I really recommend you take a look at this. For the first week, you can see we have 3 discussions that are due on Thursday, and then a step towards the research project is due on Friday. For most of the other weeks, the discussions will be due on Tuesday, and that research step will be due on Thursday, end of the day Thursday. If you kind of zoom in there, you can see these assignments are due. This one is due at 11:58 p.m. This one's 11:57. That doesn't mean that I think each one is going to take only 1 minute to complete. I'm really just giving these times so that they appear in the calendar in the order that I want you to do them. But even though I have these listed as due at 11:57 to 8:59 p.m., truth be told, I'm not going to be up at midnight waiting to pounce on your submissions as soon as they come in. So, if life gets in the way of you meeting a few deadlines now and then, I probably won't notice. The issue comes if your late assignments start stacking up and you can't apply what you learn from Tuesday's discussion to the assignment that's due Thursday because you're doing all the work on Thursday. Or if you're doing all the work on Friday, then really the step-by-step structure of this course just falls apart, and that will be a real problem. If you do start getting overwhelmed, the syllabus describes my late pass stress release policy. For any reason whatsoever, everyone in the class gets a limited number of no penalty, no questions asked short-term extensions. Now, there's some restrictions to that policy, the biggest being you have to request the late pass before the deadline. But you'll find all those details in the syllabus. Everyone at Seton Hill wants you to succeed. And the university offers a lot of resources to that end. And the library, the writing center, the IT help desk, and counseling services, all these are available to you. And again, I encourage you to consult the syllabus as a starting point. In terms of course content, the most important thing that I think you need to know is that your research paper needs to defend a debatable position on a topic of your choice. This week, we're getting right into choosing a topic and also a research question, and the assignments will tell you exactly what I mean by those things. Next week, we'll continue researching, and we'll also start looking at sort of general grammar and sentence construction tips that are applicable to any kind of writing that you do. Online classes can feel lonely, and to make that point, here's a black and white picture of a sad guy looking off into the mist. When I teach an online class, sometimes I feel like this lonely guy. I feel like I'm endlessly preparing for a class that never actually meets. But to fight that feeling of isolation, the course is set up to encourage you to talk to each other about your work through the discussions in Canvas. So pay attention to those parts of the upcoming assignments, and you too might be smiling like these happy people in the pictures that I found when I Googled for stock photo images of participation. Okay, so when I ask my past students what they think my future students should know, they usually say things like, make sure you do all the Canvas assignments on time. Or they say things like that these early assignments are designed to teach you skills you'll need to know in order to do the more advanced work. So take every one of these assignments seriously. And also, they say don't be afraid to ask Dr. Jers for help. It's not a sign of weakness. You won't be bothering me if you send me emails. It's my job. I enjoy this part of the job, and I want to help you out. And really, the class will I'll certainly give you a lot of feedback in the margins of your major submissions. But I also need to hear from you. And my inbox is open. And if you are near campus and you would like to visit, you're welcome to do so. We could also arrange for a telephone visit or a chat session or something like that during my office hours, or sometime that's convenient for you. Reach out to me, and we'll find a way that we can connect. As I record this video, all the assignment due dates and major submission details are listed on Canvas. Now, I will continue to tweak a few details after I record this video. Meanwhile, I look forward to seeing your work. The syllabus contains information on how to contact me. There's some tips on email etiquette. So those are some things that I would invite you to take a look at. I'm happy to meet you virtually. I'm looking forward to seeing your work as it starts coming in, and I'll see you online.